while we were building the house, there was a lot of movement. She used to live in the house across the street. You know the house where Beverly lives? She lived there. So they were always, and the path from Malik's house, which is the Mutu's house, they walk across. So she was there almost every day. You would see them walking across, backward and forward. So besides, I never spoke to her. I spoke to Malik and I spoke to Desiree's wife, but other than that, I never really had any direct interaction with them.
And what were the conversations with Abdul Malik?
Well, I said before, I encountered him telling me that the land is his, and he had all these plans for here, a swimming pool and whatever. And when I told him that the land he was standing on was mine, then he walked away. After that, he asked me where I worked. I work at Wimpy. He asked me, where about Wimpy? So I told him I'm the works manager down there. So he said something about payroll. So I didn't like his direction, so I stopped that. So we had no other interaction. But his wife was very close to me because I was building my house, and like on Sundays when I'm around, she would come and chat. And in fact, she asked me for the material that we left, the temporary material that we left after we built the house. She said that Michael asked, but he was away at the time, asked whether I'd throw it over the fence and give it to them. I said, right. And I gave all the material, the props and whatever we had here, and she took it. They took it.
But you had known about Michael Abdul Malik before?
In England, yes.
What do you remember of him in England?
Well, no, it was just that he became this prominent. He became prominent because of the Malcolm X thing going on in the States with Martin Luther. Then he just declared himself Michael X because his name was really, I think, De Freitas.
Michael De Freitas.
Yes. But but at that time we weren't living in London. We lived in London for a while, but when he came, we were living in Manchester. So, but we knew about him, and as I said, I was very surprised when we came home. He was here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And about the incident itself, when did you discover what had happened here with Gail Ann Benson?
It only came to light after they burned the house, because they burned the house. Well, and I knew from Eileen, from the Mutus, that the lease was up in February. Now, February, he ran away. I don't know why he ran away, but he burned the house. In fact, I know for a fact that Brown, one of the boys who worked with him, was involved in burning it. If he didn't burn it himself, he was involved in burning it, because the night of the fire, I came in late and I saw Brown was driving he had a Humber Hawk motor car, a green one, and I saw Brown driving his car. And his car was parked right in the road. And within 15 minutes of me getting home, I heard a bang, and when I looked over, the place was on fire. So I knew that Brown was involved. The next morning when everybody was here, I saw Brown walking in the road lamenting the fact that the house was burned. But I knew he was there, because I saw him personally. And when the explosion, the first, it seemed that they used gas. They know when you light gas, it ignites, boom. I looked through the window and saw the place on fire. So when he came in the morning lamenting the fact, I knew that he was. So then the police moved in, as far as I know, because the police were looking for arms. As far as I know, the police were looking for arms. And they probed a bed, and I think they found the ground was soft. And they checked the ground and found a body. But that was February, that was long after the girl. But through that, and then, because there were a lot of boys with him, Abbott and Parmasa and Chedi and Brown, Jamal was American. Hakim Jamal was American. Steve, I can't remember Steve's name. He drowned. Yes. He was one of them who drowned. So they were around. So when they squeezed Parmesan, he talked, and they went down there and he found the body. I know the police came, when they came, as I said, they were looking for arms, and they found Skerrit. And then they pulled the fellas in, and Parmesan talked. So they went down there, and because, I mean, normally, because that side down there was out of the compound. The Mutu's compound started from the top house right down to where Mr. Williams lived. But her grave is outside the compound. So normally the police wouldn't have known, but Parmesan directed them to down there. But I said before, there was a hole there for months before, because our kids used to go and play there.
So were you around when the body was being removed from that grave? And
Yeah, well, we knew, yeah, but we didn't go out, you know. We knew they came and got the body.
and you found out about it?
Yeah, we found out it was Gaylan, because, as I said, we knew her, because she's a Caucasian, you know, very conspicuous around.
Yes. So what was your reaction when you found out about it?
Well, I was traumatized, because I was at work. I used to work at Wimpy, and my wife called me and told me, you know, there's something going on. So I left and came up here. So I was traumatized that all this was going on right around me. And then Superintendent Mark, Gordon Mark, I knew him from Cuba, because we had a little problem in Wimpy. And he came and talked to me. He came and asked me whether, you know, I knew anything, and he looked around the house. He asked me whether he could look around my house to see, because they found the body under a lettuce patch. So he came and he looked around. So I was traumatized, and we were traumatized for about a year after anyway, because this was a tourist site. You know, there were hundreds of people coming every day on the site. In fact, well, of course, during the investigation, the police and army people all around, sentry, all around, 24 hours.
It
So,
shocked the community.
of course, the whole. And I mean, imagine in those days, two bodies in an area like this was not something common, you know. So the trauma, in fact, was after the fact, was worse than the incident. Because there were hundreds of people here, motor cars, buses, hundreds, you know, and you hear people commenting, oh, these people have been right here and they don't see that they were killing people, you know. So it was a terrible, it had a terrible toll on our personal life, you know.
Yes, yes.
Well, we had 6 children, huh?
So did you at any time contemplate returning to England?
No. When we left England, again, it was a deliberate act to leave England because we wanted the kids to know what home was about. So we came home and we made a pledge, because lots of friends we have who came home couldn't stay because of the conditions or whatever. And we made a pledge that we will not return. And the idea was that the kids will come home, know what home is about, and then if they want to go back, they can go back. So when we came and we never went, only one of them went back, or the other went to Canada and the States and whatever.
You at Cascadoo when you came back?
Yeah, of course, before I came back, because I spent all my early years here.
Yes. Do you remember seeing John Lennon and Yoko?
No, I didn't see that. My wife said she saw them, but I can't remember seeing them. But there were celebrities here all the time.
Of course. Yeah. Jackie Kennedy, you remember seeing her here?
No, I didn't know she came. Jackie Kennedy came here?
Oh, yes.
No, well, I didn't know.
Because Gail Ann Benson was her half-sister.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I was nowhere of that. But I know she had a brother, and he died as well in some strange circumstances.
Yes, that's right. So this incident in such a bucolic area like Christina Gardens would have had its long-term effect on the community.
Of course it does. Years after, if you say Christina Gardens, people say, yeah, Malik. And then we live, on top of that, we live right on the spot, because when we were the only house here, there were no, all those houses weren't here. None of the corner of the left house was the only other house here. But our house, the left's house, our house, and the Motu's house. So it had a debilitating effect on the community. And for years after, there's a stigma, you know. But we lived through it, because I like here. I still love here, you know.
Yeah, you remember it at all, that incident?
Yes, of course. You wouldn't forget that. It was the first impression. Remember, we moved in. First of all, we started building the house in June of 1972. Because I'm an engineer, so I remember it was my first house in Trinidad. I was very happy to build my own house, to design my own house and build my own house. And then there was Malik running up and down with all these boys, doing all sorts of, you know, just driving up and down the place.